A new USA Today Gallup poll this morning finds that 6 in 10 Americans believe it's important to get away from home sometime this year, but they feel understandably stressed given the high price of fuel and the impact that has on other costs like hotel and airfare. It's also putting pressure on Congress. Joining me in the studio this morning is Congressman Steve Israel, chairman of the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee. Good to see you.
Great to be with you.
Let me ask you, is there anything Congress can do to lower fuel prices?
Yeah, there's lots of things we can do. We can start by eliminating the $4 billion subsidy that big oil companies get. Republicans
You know what they say, Congressman? They say that will not affect the price of gas.
Well, of course they're going to say that. They're getting the subsidies. It doesn't surprise me that a bunch of rich oil company executives would go to Congress and say, don't touch our subsidies. You got to lower our taxes. That's a self-serving argument. It is just ludicrous that we are continuing to provide $4 billion a year to subsidies to big oil companies that are making more profits than they've ever made. And the notion that we can end Medicare in order to fund tax cuts and tax subsidies to oil companies is really transforming this election in the electoral battleground.
You were just telling me you're on your way to Little Rock in Memphis, obviously in your role as chairman of the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee. Can you guys be successful in 2012 if gas prices don't come down significantly?
We can be successful in 2012 as long as we are on the right side of the American people. And for as long as Democrats are saying that we don't believe that we should be terminating Medicare or that Washington should terminate Medicare in order to fund tax cuts for big oil companies, then we can be successful. And for as long as Republicans defend the indefensible, which is let's terminate Medicare in order to fund tax cuts for big oil companies, they will have less success.
Well, when people drive up to the pump and it costs them a day's wage to fill up the tank, are they going to blame the people in power?
Look, there's no question that high gas prices are a problem for everybody in Washington. I mean, that is a bipartisan responsibility. What differentiates Democrats from Republicans is we are the ones who are saying that we need to end our addiction to foreign oil. We need to reduce the gas prices through some innovative clean tech strategies, and we need to end the subsidies to big oil companies. The Republicans are saying more of the same, more of the same. And that's why the American people are saying, well, we don't want the status quo in the House of Representatives. We want a Democratic majority in the House.
And we look at 2012. We obviously know who's at the top of your ticket. But on the Republican side, we're expecting to hear from Donald Trump today about will he or won't he run. Wouldn't you love it if Donald Trump got into this race?
Well, listen, the Republican campaign for president is a bunch of folks all the way on the right trying to get further to the right. What I find interesting yesterday, the one guy who thinks he's furthest to the right, Newt Gingrich, said that the House Republican plan to end Medicare was too far to the right. So this is a presidential election that is trying to veer to the right.
That Obamacare, as he calls it, is too far to the left. And I'm wondering if he might make actually some points with that people who think maybe both sides are a little too extreme. Is he appealing to independents with that?
You know, the most recent polling that I look at says that independents are coming back to Democrats. Chris, here's what went wrong for us in the 2010 election. We lost 9 million independents. The Republican Party rented those independents for one night in the House elections in 2010. And now, as a result of the Republican plan to end Medicare, to continue promoting and protecting subsidies for big oil companies, to close down the government over a woman's right to go to Planned Parenthood for her health care, as a result of all of those things, independents clearly are believing that Republicans are going too far, too fast, too extreme, too excessive, and that's why a Democratic House is now in play.
All right, Steve Israel, it's good to see you. Safe travels
Thank
to
you.
Thanks so much.